wow, that was quick. People already are logging in. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Cynthia, Lasha, Marilyn, Monique, hello, welcome. We'll be going live on Facebook as well. So if you know anyone who wants to hear about healing through food, just let them know they can still go on to our Black Mental Health Alliance's Facebook page and join us still. We're gonna give people a couple more minutes as everyone's logging in. Hey, Tara. And of course, my Facebook is not connected. Okay. So we'll get started. We're live. And I'll be checking the live chat, the Facebook live comments on my phone. So you'll see me looking down a little bit. That's how I'll be processing the question. Yay, so we are live. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us started because I want to give our speaker the most amount of time possible because I love her so much. And we have a lot of good information that we're going to give everyone. So we're going to go ahead and start. Let me just close this a little bit. Nope, I can't do it that way. All right, so hopefully you can see my PowerPoint. All right, so it's been a while since I've even done PowerPoints for this. During the pandemic, we were virtual. We had went back to in-person and we're going to start that back up in a little bit. But I just wanted to welcome everyone to tonight's Mind Health Shop Talk, Healing Through Food. And we're really excited today. We have a lot of information, so we're going to go ahead and get started. As you know, yesterday was Dr. Martin Luther King Day of Observance. So hopefully you were able to do something that was in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. If you did and you have photos, if you did a day of service and you have a story behind that, I want to share your story in the Black Mental Health Alliance newsletter. So share that with us. I want to also thank our sponsors for tonight's Mind Health Shop Talk, Kaiser Permanente. Thank you guys for all the support and for allowing these to be free for everyone who wants to participate. And so I don't think Andrea's on the line yet.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
you
here,
are
Roxana. I am. Thank you so much. Thank you. My apology for not being able to, unable to share my face today, but
no problem.
Just want to thank everybody for joining us and really thank you for your staying power. You know, they often talk about our resilience as a people, and not that, you know, and there's some good and bad that comes with that, but you stayed with us through the pandemic. We made a commitment to make sure that we were talking about issues that made sense to us as a community of people, and made sense to us as we healed. And so I can't thank you enough for your staying power. But I have to tell you, if you thought hanging with us last year through the pandemic was awesome, you have got to hang with us this year for a number of reasons, because we are taking it to a new level. And we're going to still keep it 100, but we're taking it to a new level. And we are celebrating throughout the year our 40th anniversary. And so, yes, the Black Mental Health Alliance is celebrating our 40th birthday, and we are excited about it. We are excited about this work, but we know even more importantly how important this work is in this moment. And so we really want to give a couple of shout outs. I know that Roxana has already thanked our partners, but I really want to give a thanks to Roxana and the many folk who have agreed to speak for us, who have committed to be with us, who have just cheered us on, because I promise you, we are taking Mind Health Shop Talk to a new level. And so not only are we expanding our base, but you should look for us, because that we will be in other places. We've got some exciting things that I can't share, but I want to. And so please do. But again, and thank you to yourselves. I want to give you a shout out, because again, you show up time and time again for this work. And so here at the Black Mental Health Alliance, we don't take that for granted. We know that we've been excited to do this work with Kaiser, but more importantly, we've been excited to show up in the community as the Black Mental Health Alliance. And so I pray you look for us. I invite you on this amazing journey that we are about to have. And I, like Roxana, won't talk long. I do want to, because this is such an important topic. I pray she doesn't tell me that having a sweet potato is bad tonight, because that's what my dinner is. But again, a shout out to you. Pat yourselves on the back. Thank you for your commitment over the last 3 to 4 years. And thank you as you watch us revamp Mind Health Shop Talk. And we're going to do a remix to this. And so just be on the lookout. Again, I'll turn it back over to Roxana. We will ask you if you could hang with us to the end, so that we're going to do it. Of course, we want to thank you. We'll do Survey Monkey and wrap up. We'll talk a little bit about our programs that'll be upcoming, but you don't want to miss it. This is your year. And so seize the opportunity. Thank you, Roxana.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys know this, Andrea started with us during the pandemic, so she was not able to meet any of our speakers or do any of the Mind Health Shop Talks with us while we were in person. And one of the amazing things that I think came out of that, Jaree actually started, was it the 2020? Yes, 2020's Mind Health Shop Talk with us. And she brought up the rear at the end. So she did a movement piece. No, I feel like the what did we do for the New Year one? I can't remember, but I
talked about seasonal depression and navigating that.
Yes. It was such a good time being in the shop and just being able to do that. So just a little cheer for our speaker. So I just wanted to introduce tonight's speaker to you. Oh, I also have a couple of housekeeping notes. Just so you know, everyone, you are muted except for our beautiful presenter tonight. You can submit your questions via chat or in the Q&A. It's easier to keep track of them in the Q&A, but if you can't do that, that's fine. I'm going to be looking through the chat as well. We'll also be taking questions on Facebook. So we will be interactive on both platforms. And we're going to do the question and answer period at the end. Jaree may see a question that she can answer right away, or if it's something with an ingredient, we'll ask her right away. But most likely we're just gonna do the answer and question part at the end. So just to introduce our speaker tonight, Jaree Cottman. She's a LCSW-C, which is the licensure for the social workers who also do therapeutic work. And she is a Baltimore native, a lifelong foodie. She is the owner of Afia Counseling and Wellness Services, where wellness is key. Jaree is a licensed mental health therapist, trained in mind-body medicine, integrative nutrition for PTSD and trauma. So needed right now. She loves exploring the connection between food and the impact it has on our mental health. Her work is rooted in the belief that we all have access to healing, connected to ancient practices like food as medicine, movement, meditation, and mindfulness. And she provides individual and group therapy, cooking classes, which if you go to her Instagram after the program, you'll see all the beautiful workshops that she's been doing in the community. she's doing classes, wellness retreats that support deepening and mind-body connection. And her mission is to support people in healing from the past, living in the present, and moving towards the future with a greater sense of wellness. So I just was so glad that we were able to collaborate for tonight. I know you have a lot going on, and we were even talking about how you are not able to take more clients, but you're able to talk to people and field them to see what their next step in the healing process should be. So I will put all that information in the chat. I'm going to baton over to our speaker tonight, Ms. Jaree Cottman.
Thank you, Roxana. Always appreciative of you, and thank you for that warm welcome and introduction. I'm going to go ahead and get my slides shared now for the switch over, and press this is always fun navigating this. I'm doing this, but good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And we're going to be talking about healing through food, and y'all came to join me at dinner time. So how fitting, how appropriate that we are all here together. I'm sorry that we could not be together in person so that we might be able to also eat together. But we will still have a good time talking about food, our connections to it, and how that can help us to feel better. All right, so can y'all see okay? How's the picture? Is it good? Is there anything being covered? I know sometimes that can happen. All right, let's go ahead and get started.
It is kind of, is there a gray outline?
It's like a shadowy.
Okay,
look.
okay,
Let me see if
so you're good.
Go to the next slide. How's this look?
Oh, it's like a gray thing on it.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's this. I close that.
Because it's like covering your quote.
Ew, okay. Let me do the remote control. Loading panels. How's that?
It's the same.
It's the same? Oh man. Okay. I have no idea how to.
The top bar removed, but now the sidebar is still in there. It's well, can someone else tell us if it's fine or not?
No, Roxana, it is now the top bar is gone, but it's still that gray over on the side. So we can see most of the food. Your kiwi is cut off, and I think that's papaya at the top.
Okay. Awesome. Screen sharing's paused. All right. I probably should have put this out. Let's see. Screen sharing. Slide control.
Oh, it's like something going on. I think you're okay, but it is blocking some of it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop in.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. Okay. So my introductory question that I have up on the screen, and hopefully you can see it. Even if you can't, you can hear my voice. Is I want to know, and I want to hear from you, what comes to mind when you think about healing through food? This is the part where you get to drop some things in the chat. Maybe folks are engaging with us on Facebook, but I want to hear from you and want to know what comes to mind when you think of these things. Healing through food. Whole food nutrition, detoxing. Soups for the soul and body, absolutely. Food that looks and tastes good, absolutely. There's no wrong answers here, so if anybody else wants to contribute, I would love to acknowledge comfort food. Yes, I would love to acknowledge. Oh, we got two statements of comfort food. Absolutely. And that's so broad, right? We can leave it vague and open. What does comfort food even really mean? But thank you all who've contributed to the chat and to the collective body of wisdom here. Roxana introduced me and let you all know a little bit about me and who I am. But just a few sort of points about what we will cover tonight. And how I like to present, and that is understanding our collective wisdom and our shared wisdom. So while I have some training, I have some specialty, some things that I have become well-versed in, I also have lived life experience. And so those things are also going to be part of this presentation, the things I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. And so just like me, you all also have your lived experiences, and I would love to hear some of them as we go about. There will be space for your sharing. There will be space for us to listen and to learn and to grow together. So thank you all who contributed there. Right along. And so as we know it, food is so much more than just what we eat and what we put in our bodies. Food is nourishment. It's what we need to consume. It is ceremony. It brings us together. It's something that we do at special times. It's something that we do in hard times. Like many people, there's been a lot of loss, a lot of grief lately. And I think about what happens when someone passes away, when someone dies, or even when someone is born and brought into the world. There's usually food around. So that signifies ceremony, it signifies special times. Food is also self-care, right? It can be a way that we take care of our deepest and truest needs. It's the way that we listen to ourselves and the way we honor our bodies. And also food has space to be sacred medicine. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means tonight. And it doesn't have to always be something that is so far off. It can be really simple and really intentional. And those are some of the things I'm going to go over with you tonight. So I'm going to share a few takeaway points that you might be able to integrate into your day-to-day life. And then we're going to close up with just a brief food demonstration where I can show you how to combine some really nutritious and healthful ingredients all together for your own enjoyment and your own satisfaction. Well, tonight it'll really just be for my satisfaction because y'all can't predict it with me. But maybe you'll get some ideas and you'll figure out how you can put those things together, maybe in your own kitchen. I really wish we could be together and we could eat this food together, but it's all good. Next time. And so like I said earlier, while I am here to facilitate this discussion, I certainly don't put myself as the sage on the stage as all knowing, but I'm certainly your guide for the ride today. And I'll be on the side guiding you along, asking you questions, inviting you to be curious, and inviting you to go on your own experience and your own journey of healing with food. And so a little bit about my story, that in some of my recent reflections, I recognize that food has been a thread for me. Like maybe some of you, I did not grow up in a home where we had a lot of money or we had a lot of material things, but we always ate. We always ate well. And so I'm so grateful to be able to have that foundation and to be able to have that as a part of my history. And so I think back on my times where I got to be in the kitchen and listen to some of the stories being told and listen to some of the things that were happening and just be curious and then have that curiosity be met. I remember I have a very early memory of my mother chopping green bell peppers for spaghetti, and the smell of the peppers was just so fragrant. And I was always so used to having the peppers in the spaghetti, and so obviously having them cooked. I was wondering, I wonder what it tastes like before we cook it, because I had never known that. And I remember her just cutting a small piece off for me to try. Wasn't my favorite thing, but I still appreciate the invitation to be curious about what I was about to experience and about to partake in. I think about after giving birth, how people that I love and care, that care about me and care about my new baby, came and brought me food. And those are some of the most tender moments. Also, people coming to cook for me during those times. Those things are such tender moments for me, and I'm grateful for them as well. And so I just think about all of these moments and these memories that I have, food being a thread and connector and all of these things. And so it only makes sense that I now integrate it into my work as a mental health therapist, and that I get to even deepen the experience even more. And so, like I said earlier, these things run through my personal life and in my professional world. And so most recently, I was able to obtain a certification in integrative nutrition for trauma and PTSD. And so I'm grateful for all of the letters and that certification and all of that. But really what it helped me to do is to bring my experience to life and to give some real words to it. Through the course of my life, I have had to develop a healthy relationship with food. Having had experiences where I gained weight, I needed to lose weight, I was unhappy, I was unhealthy, having to redevelop and reacquaint myself with food, not as something that would make me gain weight or something that I needed to avoid or that I couldn't look forward to, but instead seeing all of the ways that I might be able to seek nourishment in my life, and not just through food, but sometimes the experiences around food. And so through my studies, through my research and my experience, I have these 4 C's or 4 pillars around healing through food that we will explore together tonight. So our first C is curiosity. The next C is connection. The third C is a culture of creativity, kind of doubled up on the C's there. And then the fourth C is community, which is probably my favorite, if I can choose. And so why heal through food? Wanting to start with this as our entry point. Why are we talking about healing with food? And the bottom line is it's essential to life, right? As living creatures and living beings, we cannot survive without food. It's essential to life. Just as any living, breathing organism on this earth, we all need food. And so another thing that's so helpful and important to realize that in this journey as we navigate healing with food is that it enhances our capacity for self-regulation. And what does that mean? That's something that you can manage and you can monitor yourself. So Andrea said earlier, are you going to tell me what's bad? You tell me I can't eat these sweet potatoes? No, not at all. This is a journey about what feels good for you. So if that thing helps you feel good, then listen into that, honoring that. How much of it do you eat? How much of it do you consume? Are there limits to this? And so just being able to have a sense of self-efficacy, which is so important for anyone who deals with any mental health concerns. It feels like all of these things that are very external or outside of your control that can impact how you feel, that this is something that's very small, very tangible, and very real that you can manage and control yourself for your own wellness. Another reason we heal with food is that it brings the body into balance. Our body is made up of all of these systems, the nervous system, the digestive system, the endocrine system, all of that. And so when we start with food, we have the ability to bring a sense of balance between all of those systems so that we're not up and down, but we're really creating the balance that we need. One thing that I have grown to love about food, especially as a mental health therapist, is that these lessons and these tools that we are embracing are things that can be applied individually on a one-to-one level. They can be applied in groups, in a group setting, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the group work that I've been able to do. It can occur in families, which is so endearing, especially for me. I have 2 sons, they are 6 and 9, and food and getting in the kitchen has been a great way for us to connect and to find enjoyment amongst each other. And I've also been able to apply some of these strategies and techniques in communities. So in larger groups of people, and understanding sometimes the systemic issues that come up and come out as we start exploring not just food, but food systems. And where does the food come from? Is it accessible? Can everybody consume it? Those are things that are some hard and heavy questions, but the reality is that oftentimes we can just start right where we are. Another reason that we can explore healing with food is understanding the mind-body connection. So it's often said that the gut or the digestive system is our body's second brain. And so through this second brain, we have our brain that's here, but we also have our brain that's here in our bellies. And so there's a two-way communication that happens here. And it is said that often where there is mental or emotional distress, there is also digestive distress and vice versa. And so because of this two-way communication, we can impact how we feel through food. And you may also notice that how you feel might impact some of the food choices and some of the food, the things that we put in our body. And so sometimes we have to just take a hands-on approach and address from where we can. We may not always have the capacity to shift how we feel instantly, but we can certainly impact our behavior, which is through what we eat and what we put in our. So now we're going to lead into our first pillar, our first C, and that is curiosity. And so you'll see this picture that I stole from my from my son's teacher from their kitchen class. I think the picture actually got cropped, so he's actually not even in the picture. I don't know how that happened, but this is I'm so grateful for their school and their learning environment that they get a chance to explore kitchen. And they get to try new foods and they get to try recipes and have a good time in the kitchen and sometimes decide what they like and what they don't like. So they have bins of tomatillo. So they made some roasted tomatillo salsa and had it with some tortilla chips. And from what I heard, it was a big hit for all the eaters in that group. And so I think about these young people, but I also think about us when we invite curiosity in as it pertains to our food. And so sometimes it's necessary to take a step back. Sometimes we have food associations, things that we've already made up in our minds about what we like, what we don't like, what we need. And it's important that we take a step back and approach from this very childlike view, that we get to be curious about what we're putting in, about finding what works and what doesn't work, and how we can ultimately help our bodies. Is this something that I'm feeding myself that feels good? Is it helpful? Or is it harmful? And this is a place where mindfulness comes in. And so I love the fun, the curiosity, and the environment that gets created in kitchen. And so when we talk about mindfulness, this is a concept that I'm now going to introduce to you, and we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go along. But mindfulness is about being in the moment, having awareness, and approaching that awareness with kindness and curiosity and compassion. It's not listed there, but compassion as well. So without judgment, but just being curious. And so I'll use myself as an example as I talk about curiosity. And as I mentioned earlier, having to redefine and reacquaint my relationship with food. So when I started on a health journey, one of those foods that I had ruled out that I did not like and I would not like was Brussels sprouts. I don't know if anybody else can relate. I don't really remember how my mom made them. I think she steamed them or maybe boiled them, but I just did not like the flavor. I just did not enjoy that. But as I was reacquainting myself with food and my relationship with food, I was like, well, maybe I can try making this a different way, and maybe I can actually enjoy this experience. So I tried, yes, boiled. And so I tried roasting the Brussels sprouts, and I discovered that I actually like them. And that you get to play around with the different seasonings and the different things that you put on it, and they are so good. And so just as a general rule of thumb, roasting vegetables brings out the natural sweetness of them and gives it a smoky flavor at times, just depending on what else you might. So curiosity is something that we can embrace and bring into our experiences with food, and then how we heal ourselves. I see some comments in the chat that I think roasted Brussels sprouts are the way to go. So as I talk about mindfulness, I want to invite you to have your own mindful experience with food. So if you have anything nearby, I invite you to grab it. Could be absolutely anything. I'm sorry, I probably should have told you this earlier, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. Roll with it. So we're going to have a mindful eating experience right now. So I want you to grab something. I am going to grab some dried cranberries out the cabinet. It's my favorite thing to practice mindful eating with. So if you have something small, a nut, dried fruit, regular fruit, whole fruit, anything, only water, that's fine, Roxana. This is going to be a really deep experience for you if it's just water. It's, and this is a way that we can also practice a sense of meditation from this slowing down. Awesome. Grapefruit, absolutely anything. I don't know if it's peeled already, but just being able to take a small segment of whatever you have. And so we are going to be engaging with this piece of food, whatever it is, almost as if we have never experienced it before. Like this is the first time. So I want you to imagine that this is something that you've never seen before, that you've never had before. You don't know what it tastes like, don't know what to expect. This is a completely new experience, okay? And so now if you don't have anything, that's fine. Just go on the journey with us. Just stay here with us just for the moment, and we will go on this journey together, okay? Awesome. All right, so we are going to start. So I have my dried cranberry. We're going to be going on this journey together, all right? And you will have a transcript, or you'll be able to watch the replay if you want to look back at this and then maybe try it once you have something handy. I got the dried cranberry, and I want you to start connecting with whatever your food is that you have with your sense of sight, right? Just noticing what it looks like, noticing the color, maybe the shape of it, if there's any textures that you're observing. Is it see-through? Does it reflect light at all? And just being able to look at it before you rush into eating it. This is where we invite that curiosity in. Now connecting with your sense of touch. Investigate more closely, how does your food item feel? Is it heavy? Is it light? Does it have a temperature? Is it hot or cold? How dense is it? And as you look at it, do you have any thoughts about where it comes from? Did it grow from the ground? Was it made in a factory? Were there other hands or people that may have touched it or encountered it along the way? I invite you to breathe as you go about this experience, just slowing down, listen to your body. Now connecting with the sense of smell. Now bringing your item up to your nose. Do you smell anything? Does it make you want to just throw it in your mouth? Do you not want it anymore? Just inviting some curiosity in. How do you feel as you think about putting this into your body? How does your body feel as you anticipate? Now, are you noticing any memories that come up or are triggered by this food that you have? What does it remind you of? Does it make you think of? Now, finally, without further ado, we're going to receive this food into our body, but again, slowly. And as you move your hand toward your mouth, do you taste it? And how does it taste? Now I want you to slowly experience the food. Maybe roll it around with your tongue. Chew it slowly. Allowing yourself to have your full attention on the food's taste and texture. And if you have any urge to suddenly rush through, slow down. Just be aware. And just notice. And when you're ready, you can swallow it if you haven't already. And notice if you can feel this item in your body as you swallow it. And I invite you to take a deep breath and check in with yourself. You just had a mindful eating experience. So I want to know, how you feeling? Talk to me. How was that? Oh, I know it's a webinar, so can't actually talk to me, but put it in the chat.
Do you want people to be able to come off mute?
Oh, if they want to, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
if anybody wants to.
yeah, if you want to, well, I know one person who would want to.
Okay.
Andrea, would you want to share? And if anyone else wants to,
Of course I do.
we'll let them share as well. You had a
So
grapefruit, so I feel like that's a good one.
I had a
yeah.
grapefruit, and so it awakened all my senses. I remember what a grapefruit felt like, smelled like what season it puts me in. And I didn't see it to be like tart, like people, it was just refreshing, and I needed that refreshing. And so, but I have to tell you, I almost jumped the gun. I was like, I'm gonna bite this puppy now. But I didn't.
Yes.
But it's so, this is the only other thing that I'll say. As I was peeling my grapefruit, the grapefruit also has another layer, and then that sort of white. And I thought, God, isn't that like us? We've got these layers we've got to get through. And I just thought, I was like, I'm sure I'm going way too far on that. But it just reminded me. It just reminded me of the complexity of us as humans, and then the things that we the things that we take in as food. So I'm glad we did that.
See, I knew she would have a great response.
I love it. Yes. I oftentimes do this guided imagery practice, and we use some sort of citrus fruit to sort of create the visualization. It's almost as if you have that thing right in front of you. So I'm glad you had the grapefruit, and you really got to really be fully in that experience. So when I asked the question about any memories or thoughts that are being triggered by the food, that's me all the time. What you said about the layers and the peeling back, and it's like, okay, got through the layer, you think like, okay, this is it. Now it's time to eat it. But no, there's still more. There's another layer you have to get through to actually enjoy it. So thank you for your sharing. I think I saw in the chat.
Yeah, someone had made a comment, but we need more context to it.
Yes, Mary, I would love more context about harmful. I don't know if it was the thing that you had in front of you to eat that you realized maybe it wasn't great for your body, or maybe something else, or maybe the practice itself. I would love to hear and know more. I see Darlene said couldn't wait to eat the orange. Was hoping it was sweet. Yes, me too. That's always a gamble, right? You just don't know how that fruit is going to be, but anticipating that it will be good. Okay, Mary
Okay.
says she was diagnosed with a gastric ulcer. Okay, so was it the food itself that was harmful, or the slowed down process of eating the food? Because I can imagine that shapes your experience of what you're eating, having this injury that you have to navigate through. And thank you for all who have put something in the chat and added to, yeah, okay, yeah. So that can create that uncertainty, right? That can impact how you digest and how you take things in, for sure. Thank you for your sharing your vulnerability here in this group. I appreciate that. So I hope that you get some answers soon, and that you get some clarity about what can be helpful and most helpful for you in navigating this condition. Anybody else want to share their experience with the mindful eating? And even if you didn't get to participate, even just watching or listening to the prompt, I'm curious if anyone has any thoughts or feelings that they want to share. It's certainly one of those things that is experiential. It's one thing to experience it. It's another thing to read it or to hear about it. Okay. Well, thank you for having that experience with me. We're going to move right along to our next C, which is connection. And connection is often a way of bridging the past, the present, and the future. So I love that we get to create connection around food. This is something that can be uplifting. This is something that might impact us differently. It may not be always feel good, but it is a learning experience nonetheless. And so I love how food can be a connection to ourselves and to other people. I had a picture that I wanted to include in this slide. I think I put it later on. But it was from a cooking class that I led over the summer. And this was my first time leading a mindful cooking class for the public. But it was such a beautiful opportunity for connection, where people who did not know each other had this shared curiosity, going back to that concept of what it would mean to slow down in the kitchen and just to take time and listen to ourselves. And there was a group of people who were just from all different walks of life, all different experiences and backgrounds and current situations, but we all found that sense of connection around food, and it was such a beautiful thing. So as you think about even places in your life where maybe there's conflict, or there's tension, or there is even confusion, that you might be able to bring some food into the picture, and that creating a space for connection and exploration. Again, in the chat. Okay, nothing on Facebook. All right, and so oftentimes we talk about connection is also a way that we might be able to connect spiritually through food. Through in many faiths and religions and backgrounds, there is space for connection through food. And so just by slowing down, just by making that space for yourself, that you might feel a sense of spirituality. And I think that was one of the points of feedback from the class, is just taking that time to slow down felt like a spiritual experience, because we're always so on the go, hustle and bustle. Sometimes we forget what things can even taste like because we're always on the go. But being able to really slow down and have these experiences together can be a way that we can connect spiritually, no matter what our religious background or affiliation is, if we have one at all. And so now I have a reflective question for you. I brought up a memory earlier, just thinking about being in the kitchen and wanting to try that green bell pepper so bad that I have so many food memories and food connections. And so I'm curious, for any of you, do you have a special memory of a loved one, whether that person is alive or no longer present, that maybe comes to mind around food for you? Any special memories or special senses of connection that come up for you? Sometimes those moments of connection are spontaneous for me. They're not always very clear. Other times I'm like, I'm making this dish. I know why I'm making it. There's a feeling that I want to evoke. There's someone that it makes me think of. Other times I end up in the kitchen and I start thinking about all kinds of things and making connections between people that I have crossed paths with along the way. So would love to hear from you. Do you have a special memory or special food connection that comes up for you as you make space to pause and think there?
And anyone, just let us know if you would like to unmute instead of typing everything out. I know when I think about.
I'm sorry, Roxanne.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh no, you're breaking. You're breaking up, Andrea. I was just gonna say really quickly is some of the memories that I think about, and now that I'm older, is like being in my mom's kitchen and when she would cook things, and I would just love when she and I know my mom is not from here. She would cook like oxtails, beans and rice, pigtails, and I know it sounds gross, but it was so good. And I remember I had recently went to Jamaica, and just tasting those foods made me like miss going to her kitchen and being able to eat whatever stuff was there. And just, I knew it wasn't good for me, but I also don't eat like that all the time. But it was just like, oh, I just miss it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I had an experience like that as well, Roxana. It was unexpected. I had gotten some fresh beans from the farmer's market. And I was like, well, how can I cook these? I don't really know what to do with this. And so I was like, well, I'll cook it with some smoked meat. And when I tasted it, it instantly just like made me think about my mom.
Aww.
And it was such like a nurturing experience. I probably overate because of that, right? Okay, come on, connection. It was so good, but it was so enduring. So I see some comments in the chat.
And then Andrea, do you want to try to talk again? Because Darlene said she'll go.
She would like to.
I had tried, I put some of it in the chat, but my grandmother was blind. And I remember vividly when I was younger that she made homemade jelly. And it was the craziest thing. Like she relied heavily on her sense of smell, and she relied heavily on touch. And so she would feel around the bowl, and she, ask you, put sugar in my hand, and or put it in a measuring, or in a cup, not even in a measuring cup. And she made homemade jelly, and it was divine. But just watching her navigate that space with what limited sort of senses, right, without her sight, it was so powerful to watch.
Oh, thank you for that. That's like amazing too, because it's she didn't know the exact thing, but she just measured it and just making it with love. I can just see that. And for our people on Facebook, we have Robert said, my mom or grandmom making a cake, and I got to lick the frosting pot and spoon. Oh, that's just such a happy, like, that's such a happy memory.
Felt that.
That made us all smile, Robert. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. I am number 3. I'm the baby, and I always get my way. So I definitely have gotten to lick the spoon in the bowl. Got special privileges sometimes, even. Hopefully my siblings don't see this. But they know the deal. But yes, I instantly felt that so much warmth and good energy there.
And I asked
Erica,
Darlene to unmute if she could.
okay, got it.
Erica
Erica
said
said-
the sensory aspect is so grounding for me.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's
ladies.
Darlene.
I was just typing my heart out. Hi,
It's so much
everyone.
better
This
when
is
you get to say it.
yeah, this is so cool. From the first exercise we did, well, I was cutting an orange and I was in the kitchen when she was talking. I said, "Oh, I do got something in my hand." So that was an excellent experience for a group that I'm in. I can share that, and I'm number 9 out of 11. So
Oh,
I've been
wow.
raised. I've been raised with a whole bunch of cooking. So both my parents, I put in the chat, were great cooks. My mom and my dad, and we woke up to go to school smelling the food. The aroma of the food woke us up for school. Like you might not want to get up, but if you smelled the bacon and the eggs and the sausages and the pancakes, you were like, I'm gonna get up. And during that time, my parents used to boil the king syrup before the microwave came out. So we would boil the syrup, and so we would have like a buffet breakfast, like like you do now that you go to, because there's so many of us, right? So we ate good all the time. My mom and my dad, and fried chicken was like the best, and homemade biscuits. So now that I have grandkids, 21, want to be 18, 12, and 5-year-old, I have them in the kitchen with me. I love it. I do videos when we cook. And so we're working on a 5-year-old. We haven't figured what he's gonna do yet besides taste, but he says grace very well. So far he's the grace person. And I love what y'all doing tonight. This is like so cool, bringing up so much great childhood memories, and also memories for now, because I'm a grandmother now, and my parents are not here to see it, but I know they looking down, seeing us in the kitchen. I know they can see us.
That would make them so happy. Darlene, if you want to share your if you're streaming on YouTube and you want to share those videos, please put that in the chat, and I'll put it in the resource link for everyone to follow up with.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. What you said literally is bridging past, present, and future, right? Yes, that is it right there. Like having those memories, and again, like our nervous system and our emotions are often sometimes just guided by what we can see in front of us or what's happening in our brains and all of that. And so we have the capacity to tap in to these resources and thinking about like our past experiences and the things that we've been through, and these small moments that feel like so much more. I think we can all agree, just hearing those stories, reading those things in chat, like I feel moved. And this is our chance to remember, right? Those who have gone on, those who still live and still are part of our day-to-day history. So I'm so grateful for each one of you sharing and bringing that again to this body of collective wisdom around how food can be part of our connection, how we connect to one another. And so just even as Darlene said about being in the kitchen and making that space for connection, it can be seen as a ritual. And when we understand what ritual really means, I found this beautiful quote from this book that I love called The Healing Wisdom of Africa. And so it talks about some ancient practices and techniques that we can bring forward into today that are part of how people from the continent, which is really all of us, how we have healed and connected over time. And so the quote says, every time a gathering of people under the protection of spirit triggers a body of emotional energy aimed at bringing them tightly together, a ritual of one type or another is in effect. Part is planned, part cannot be planned because of spirit. And so we think about just coming together. Anytime we come together, and we don't know what might be bringing us together, what might be guiding us, but we know there's an energy there that is bringing people together. And we think that ritual has to be so formal and so structured. And the truth is that part of it can be planned. We know we're coming together, right? It's like my class, right? Part of it was planned. I had no idea what it was going to be like. It was my first time doing it. It was something that existed only in my mind. But when we got in the space, we made time to meditate. We made time to pause and honor those things that were coming up. And that part of that is the spirituality that happens. When I tell my children, come in the kitchen, wash your hands, let's make something together. Sometimes I have no idea what is going to happen, but oftentimes we feel that need for connection and we're able to get it from those experiences. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for putting that link in the chat. Shout out to Morgan State University. That's where I got my MSW. That was one of my texts from my grad program, and I still keep it on my desk. I won't say how many years ago I graduated with my MSW. But moving right along. So just sort of deepening this experience, I was hoping this would have been bigger. I was supposed to go back and edit this. I forgot to. So bear with me if this is super tiny on your screen. But this is about mindfulness. This is a quote from Zen Master around mindfulness. And mindfulness in daily life can look something like this. To be mindful is to be truly present with your mind and body, to harmonize intentions and actions, and to be in harmony with the mindfulness in daily life. To be mindful is to be truly present and understanding those things around you. We don't need a separate time for this outside of our daily activities. We can practice mindfulness in every moment, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, the garden, or as we go from one place to another, with mindful awareness of what we're doing, what we're doing around you. We don't need a separate time. This is it. And so I want to just invite you to keep in mind and remember that, oftentimes we can feel bogged down as we start the top of the year, thinking about healthy habits and what we're going to do and how we make ourselves better and how we live healthier and all of that. But just inviting a little mindfulness into your day-to-day, into your schedule, into your routine can be so helpful and powerful for your mental and emotional well-being. Our next C is culture of creativity. And I think of this quote of making a way out of no way. I'm not sure if any of you have been to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. But I snapped this picture of, this is at the entry point of one of the galleries that says making a way out of no way. And it says, how do you make a way out of no way? For generations, African Americans have worked collectively to survive and thrive in the midst of racial oppression. Through education, religious institutions, business, the press, and voluntary associations, Black men and women created ways to serve and to strengthen their communities. They established networks of mutual support, cultivated leadership, and improved social and economic opportunity. Also developed a tradition of activism that paved the way for broader social change. And so I think about all of what we have collectively been able to do over time, especially as Black people. And that is we take what we have and what we've been given and we make something happen. So sometimes that can show up in the kitchen and that can show up in our creativity. And so I love that quote of making a way out of no way. Sometimes people say, identify certain plates as like a struggle meal, or, oh, I just threw something together, or, oh, the latest trend that was last year, that was a low vibrational plate, right? It just seems like something that's just thrown together. But I love to be able to reframe our experiences and reclaim our roots of making things happen, right? Making a way out of no way. And so you will get to see part of that in action with our with our meal that I will feature tonight. But it's an opportunity to reclaim our roots, right? Just taking a little bit of what you have or taking what's available and accessible to you. Because the truth is we may not always have the most, we might not have the greatest access to food in our neighborhoods and in our communities, but we can still pair together pieces of what we have with other things that maybe you have to go a little further to get. I think there's so much beautiful symbolism in that, and ways that we can create meals and create nourishment and sustenance for ourselves. And so as I mentioned earlier, part of my training is around treatment of trauma, and food is such a powerful way to create a healing space for people who have experienced and survived trauma. And that can even include people who experience vicarious trauma. Maybe you hear stories of hurt and trauma and pain, but this is a way that you can create meaning and symbolism for yourself. And this is particularly important because when you experience trauma, it impacts the stories that you tell about yourself and the things that you've been through and experienced. And so when you get to create a new meaning and create a new story, it is so nourishing and enriching for the mind and for the body. And so creativity, if you didn't know, supports a healthy nervous system. I know oftentimes we wish that things could just be handed to us and everything would be easy. But the truth is, a little bit of creativity can actually help grow our brains and help us create new neural pathways in the brain, in the mind, in the body, and keep us feeling healthy and well. And so my reflection question as we talk about the culture of creativity, because it's in our roots, it's in our blood, is how do you feel about the idea of being creative with food? For some, it might be intimidating. For others, it might be fun. And then my curiosity then lands at, can you reframe and reclaim some of the messages you've received? Maybe you won't see that, that pot of beans as a struggle meal, right? Because I think probably when I was a child, those beans, I would be like, oh my God, like, can we eat something else? But now I see it as like, we use what we had to make something that was really nourishing and satisfying. That would be like, it would stick to our bones and that felt really good. So would love to hear from you. If there's some intimidation from that around being creative with food, around reframing your experiences, or is that something that you lean into or you pull away from? Any feedback on that? Happy to hear. Okay. Oh yes, succotash with fried corn cakes. You know, Erica, I really did not like succotash when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, this is not good. But as an adult, oh my gosh, delicious. Like, who thought to put these ingredients together? Like, just genius, delicious. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your reframe.
That is too funny. Nothing
Yeah.
on Facebook yet.
Okay.
I probably think spinach. I always thought spinach was just so blah. And then
Mhm.
I'd learned how to like saute onions with the spinach, and
Yeah.
I like even think they're refreshing if I put them in smoothies and stuff, and I didn't think of that before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, she also
Same here,
said some of
Erica.
her best meals are on a whim with what I have on
Absolutely.
hand.
Absolutely. Just throwing some things together that seems like, why would I do this? But also it's delicious. I did that last week. I made a peanut sauce, really just
Oh, okay.
soy sauce, peanut butter, and I think maybe a little rice vinegar. And served it with spaghetti squash. And it almost tasted like pad thai. It had some other like veggies in
Okay.
it mixed in. Tasted like pad thai. And I was like, I had no idea what I was doing when I was putting those things together, but that's what it tasted like. So creativity in action is very real. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And then our last C is community. Community, like I said, that's my favorite. That's the people coming together. And so this is a quote that I love around community. And it says, community is the spirit, the guiding light of the tribe, whereby people come together in order to fulfill a specific purpose and to take care of one another. The community is the grounding place where people come to share their gifts and receive from others. And so I am so eternally grateful for my community, as I said, that I have been nurtured by and loved on, and that I've also gotten a chance to share parts of me and who I am with as well in very unexpected ways. Yes, the guiding light of the tribe. I love that. And so as a part of my extension of community, I've been able to foster a relationship with the Black Church Food Security Network, and we have been able to do some cooking demonstrations in the community to be able to take these nutrient-rich ingredients straight from Black farmers, grown on the lands of churches that are part of building a greater ecosystem, and to be able to say, that's beautiful, but once we get these vegetables and this produce, what are we going to do with it? Or these jams or these things that are made by other Black vendors, what do we do with it? What can we do with it? And so I have been grateful for how that has come to be, that I have an idea for one thing, and that my community there says, great, can you bring that to the group, to the larger group? And they've been so supportive and wonderful in that. So on my left, on your right side of the screen, that is a food demonstration that we did on Earth Day at Pleasant Hope Baptist Church. That was like the reopening of the garden that we have there on the grounds. And you can see the community coming together. So people were just all pitching in from young to old to relay the garden beds, to plant some seeds, to till the soil, and just come together. And part of my contribution was nothing had grown yet because the garden was just being reset, but just taking some kale and making a really delicious salad for folks to enjoy and to participate in. And so you'll see some young people on the side of the table. One of my sons is on the other side of me. He's probably asking me for a snack. I thought he was asking to get help for the demo, but asking for a snack. I'm glad somebody was able to capture the picture. But there were some young ladies there who were like, "Can we help? Is there something we can do?" And I was like, "Well, if you find some gloves, we're gonna get this kale all cleaned up." And they found some gloves and they got it cleaned up for me so that we can make this delicious salad for everybody to enjoy. And I was so grateful for that. So that's community coming together, just a very small and simple anecdote and example of how people can come together. And even if you haven't been able to see it reflected in your life and in your world, or maybe you have and you overlooked it, that there are opportunities for folks to come together. And then the picture on the other side of the screen is from the cooking class that I facilitated at Our Time Kitchen in Baltimore. And Our Time Kitchen, if you're not familiar with it, is a local commercial kitchen that has opened just this past year, that makes space for food entrepreneurs and other folks who are maybe have small food businesses, that they have a commercial kitchen space where they can prep their food, they can teach classes, they can host events, and they can allow their businesses to grow. Again, community coming together is absolutely beautiful. And so as a part of that initial opening, they said, "Hey, does anybody want to teach some classes?" And I was like, well, I'm a mental health therapist. I'm not a cook, but I would love to bring people together in the name of food. And we do this mindful cooking class. And so that's what we did. We slowed down, we chopped some vegetables, we talked about what was happening in our worlds and how people were feeling. And ultimately, again, us all figure out how we can be in better relationship with food. And it was so much fun. And I'm looking forward to more opportunities to teach some other classes and do some other events. And so building food community might look different for each one of us. Maybe you have some foodie friends that you connect with around food, that love good food experiences that you get to cook with. Or maybe it could be that you're more intentional about it and maybe you participate in a group. And so I just wanted to share that I don't have dates locked in yet, but I am planning for some psychonutritional groups. And you might say, psychonutritional, what does that mean, right? And we get to deepen and explore through a 6-week series, our own connections to our mind and our body, and really get to do more of what we got to explore today. And maybe even make space for anything else that might come up. We also talk about communal eating and recognize that not only communal eating and cooking, those things help reduce stress and improve digestion. We already talked about the importance of having a good, solid digestive system as it impacts our mental and emotional well-being. And so just being able to slow down, to take that deep breathing, can help improve your digestion. And so I want to know if you have a food community, if you have people that you can lean on, that you can connect to. I would be remiss if I did not mention my uncle, who is like my the person who really got me comfortable in the kitchen and always supports and encourages anything that I decide to do. I'm kind of bummed out. He got me these really cool salt and pepper shakers. I don't know if you guys have seen the gravity ones. It's like you just wave it over your food and like the salt and pepper comes out. But he gifted me those. I was hoping I could use them tonight, but they need batteries and stuff, and I don't have those. So maybe for the next food demo, I'll have them ready. But if I have an idea about something, or I say, what you think if I put these ingredients together? He'll be like, no, maybe try something else. Or he'll say, that sounds good. I want to try it. And so I'm just grateful to have those circles, those communities of food community that I have around me, surrounding my life. So would be curious to know if any of you have anything like that, any people that you can look to, turn to, find support around and connection, especially as it pertains to food. I'm having more memories come up as I'm pausing, even thinking. Also have to shout out my siblings. They both fed me during both of my pregnancies. You know, those cravings get really intense. So both my brother and sister are, I think we just are a family of people who love food and we love to cook. So if I had a craving, they were willing to bring it to me, to make it or anything like that. So sister is really good at making meals and who knows we're going through stuff. Oh, that's so sweet. I love that support, that connection. Thank you for sharing that.
I don't see anything on Facebook.
Okay.
We do have watchers on Facebook. I don't know. I guess they don't want to share tonight. Usually
That's fine. I know it's like, let me just watch. That's totally fine. All right. Well, let's move on to the exciting part, which is the food demonstration. And so what I have called this meal is a nourishing power bowl, right? Because words have power. Our words matter. What we call things matter. So if you have the option to eat a salad or a nourishing power bowl, I think I might go with the nourishing power bowl. It just sounds more exciting. So whatever you choose to call and speak, what kind of energy you want to call into your food, I invite you to do that. So not a whole lot of cooking that I'm going to be doing, because this is I really try to keep things as simple and minimal as possible. Absolutely. The power bowl, right? Sounds so much better. I'm going with the nourishing power bowl. I'm a salad is boring. And so whatever we want to speak and call over our food, you have the possibility to do that. And so just thinking about what kind of energy you want to invite into your mind and your body with the food, with the meal, whatever it is that you have, even if it's not a solid food, maybe it's a smoothie, right? Maybe there's something that you want to speak and claim that is going to be given to you as a result of this food experience. So I'm going to invite you into my kitchen as we partake in the assembly of a nourishing power bowl together. I should probably take my water.
Yes, Jaree, I just wanted to take this time to thank you for opening up your home to us to do this demo. I know we switched gears on the fly, but I thought your kitchen was beautiful, and I'm just glad that you were like really mindful of knowing that we needed to do a demo and just how to be able to open that up to the virtual world. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to stop my sharing just so I can be on the screen fully. I think that'd probably be easier. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, Erica. I'm so glad you could be here. I can't type, but there is a question about where I obtained the integrative nutrition certification.
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that later.
Yeah, sure. So as a social worker, a licensed clinician, I have access to an online platform called PESI, PESI, and they offer a bunch of continuing education and training and workshops. And this particular certification is through the Korn Institute, Leslie Korn. She's done a lot of research and work around food, mental health, nutrition, all of that kind of work. And the Korn Institute offers this certification through PESI, but the Korn Institute, I was able to take a workshop with Dr. Korn a few years ago. And when I saw the opportunity for the certification come up, I took advantage of it. So that is where I got the training. The Korn with a K, KORN Institute is the place where that training and that certification is received from. I can't press my enter button. I dropped some water in my computer. So I can't press the enter button.
It was thirsty.
Yes, it was. I thought it was gonna be okay, but it's not. So all right, y'all. So we are going to make these nourishing power bowls. And I'm gonna put the ingredients up on the screen once I'm finished. And so I'm just gonna make a really simple vinaigrette. And I love putting it in a mason jar. Yes, my computer was thirsty. And so just a few ingredients. I have a measuring cup, but I just be moving with the spirit sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like measuring too much, but sometimes we just do what we gotta do. So a few very simple ingredients. I'm gonna take some olive oil. And also, I don't want to dirty the measuring cup up, if I can just be honest. It's another thing that I have to wash. Got some olive
Definitely
oil,
understand that.
some Dijon mustard. I have some maple syrup that I did not open yet. Give it a little sweetness. Now, of course, if you have like a resistance to the sweetness or allergic or whatever, of course, do not use that. You can use whatever sweetener of your choice. It just helps to provide a little balance. And then I'm going to add a little apple cider vinegar. And I'm just making a very small portion. This is a dressing that I love. And I'm just going to put a little salt and pepper in as well.
I'm putting your ingredients in the chat.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And just a little garlic powder. And so, where's my lid? So just taking now a lid. This is my favorite simple way to make a salad dressing is you just put those ingredients in. And this is something that the kids can do. Shake, shake, shake. And you might even put a little lemon juice for citrus flavor if you want. And I have some kale here. Bunch of kale that's been washed and cleaned. Haven't gotten all of the big stems off, but most of them. And so this is where the magic is, really. So we're putting this power bowl together. And the reality is this is just a really nutrient dense meal that you can put together, just combining these very simple ingredients. We've got our dressing. And so the magic comes when you massage the kale. So I'm just going to pour a little bit, however much of this dressing that I choose. Just, you eat the stems, Laura. I believe that. I believe that. More fiber, more fiber. The more fiber, the better. I'm all about it. It's to the point where my children even understand what I mean by it's got more fiber. The more fiber, the better. So now we are just going to massage this dressing into the kale just to tenderize it. because kale can be a little rough. The stems and the leaves, it all can get a little bitter. It's a very tough and sturdy green. But as I said earlier, fiber is good, especially when we talk about our gut health. Whatever is going to help pass things through, if you know what I mean. All right.
So I put the base of the bowl is kale and just to massage the dressing in the kale.
Yes, just massage it, and thank you, Roxana. You're the best.
Wait, do you have a dance or a song that you do when you do this? I feel like you do.
No, it depends. It depends. So if you don't know, I'm the mind body lady. So I definitely am going to be cooking and dancing. That's my jam. I see Laura. Laura's in the chat. She is also an amazing dancer and dance instructor.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she dances and cooks at the same. I used to take her Zumba classes, but she's doing so much more.
She's a dance everywhere.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know if you saw how sad and dry and ashy the kale was looking before, but now it's massaged and moisturized, and it's got a little bit more life to it. I actually think I'm gonna put a little.
Got a little gloss.
Yes, got a little. About a tablespoon, you know, I know, right, yes, just massage it in. I don't know who asked about the measurements. I have the measurements in my actual recipe that I can share on the screen once we're done.
Okay.
But I love, like I said earlier, to just make a batch of this that you can just keep in this jar and keep it in the fridge for as long as you want. So that way it's already done. Because some of the work around food and food prep and all of that is the mental part. And if it feels like it's a lot, then we're not doing it, right? So if we can cut down on some of those steps and make things as easy as we can for ourselves, that is the key. So we have our beautiful massaged kale. She is now moisturized. She got a little shine to her. And right behind me, I have some sweet potatoes that I roasted, along with some chickpeas and some onion. And so you can add whatever vegetables you like as a part of this bowl for you, right? Because this is a nourishing bowl. So it's about what nourishes you. So I have some roasted cauliflower. Let me show you what's on the pan. So roasted cauliflower, and you can see it's got a little color to it, almost looks barbecue. And that's just paprika, smoked paprika, chili powder, salt and pepper, and garlic. It gives it that pretty color. And those spices actually give it some warmth. So that's going to be something that nourishes you. Especially during the winter months, right? We want to be warm, warm, warm because it gets so chilly. So I'm going to put some of that in. So the sweet potatoes also have that seasoning on it. So I got about, I think I don't remember how much, but sweet potato, okay? So I have a half of a red onion. That's also that I roasted on this sheet pan. And some chickpeas as our protein. Now, if you love meat, if you love chicken or beef or whatever, you can put that in. I am not vegan or vegetarian, but I love to explore plant-based proteins. So I have roasted some chickpeas, just a regular can of chickpeas. And they get a little crispy when you roast them. So it's almost like you get a little added crunch to your dish. And I'm going to add some dried cranberries. I eat way too many. I put chickpeas with it on everything. So I'm going to add some dried cranberries just for a little sweetness. And I'm going to add some pecans or pecans, your choice. So now, just going to toss these together. And just as we practiced that mindful eating earlier, we got to have the experience of slowing down to enjoy our food, getting to anticipate what it smells like. So all of these flavors coming together, this like smoky from the paprika, you have a little bit of the vinegar smell, and then like the sweetness of the pecans is also mixed in there. It's fantastic. It just smells really good. Putting all of those things together. And then you get to see the colors, right? Because we experience these things with a sense of smell, the way it looks, the visual of it. And so now I'm just going to tilt down so you can see into the bowl and see what that looks like.
Ooh, that looks
All
nice.
all those colors coming together. Now I'm smelling it. I'm anticipating. Yes, happiness in a bowl.
It really is.
Yes. Oh, let me get them. Hey, y'all it's in my kitchen for real. Okay. Put a little bit of this in a bowl. And it's done, right? This is something that can feed the family. You can obviously make it in a smaller portion
Okay.
so that it can be great for meal prep. So just putting the having the kale without the dressing on it in a bowl, having the roasted vegetables that you just add to it, and then you just add the dressing when you're ready to eat so it doesn't get soggy.
Okay.
So of course, if there's other things that you would love to add to it, you can. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a bite.
While you're tasting that, I never thought about roasting everything in the same tray to make it. There's the dance.
Yep.
To make it easier for you, because you do get overwhelmed if you're like, oh, I want to make a healthy power bowl, but it's so many steps. It's like that makes it a little bit easier to plan.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish sharing. So that I'm gonna go back to.
Oh my gosh, we actually have some comments on Facebook. Lynn
Yay, it's
Johnson.
people out there.
Thank you for commenting. She said that looks tasty. Just wondering, would you call this a hot salad or a veggie dish? That's a good question, actually.
That's a good question. I'm realizing I had in my thing of feta cheese. I want feta cheese.
Oh, okay, feta cheese. So I'm gonna type that in the chat.
So is it? I say it's a warm salad because I don't like it to be too hot, right? So it's kind of just let the vegetables cool down a bit.
Because they're not hot when they're going in there, so it won't be soggy.
No, yeah. So so again, you make this you make this your own for your own nourishment and enjoyment.
And then Anisha John said, I'm a vegan and I can taste this already. It does look yummy.
Yes. And so that's what I really I think is important when I do like these food demonstrations and things like that, is that it's something that everybody can eat, right? So if you're a vegetarian or vegan, sometimes you can feel left out or like, oh, that's not for me, or I can't enjoy that. But the truth is, like, everybody can eat vegetables, so everybody should partake. Exactly, it's good for us.
Gets all the junk out.
Yes, absolutely. One of my friends.
I know, Elaine. So hopefully the next event that we can host, I've been plotting on doing something with our leader here today. So
I know. Listen, stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned.
Right. So hopefully you'll get to do one of the demonstrations that you've done with the work that you're doing.
Yes.
And I'm glad you were able to talk about that a little bit, because I know I didn't know if you were gonna be able to, but I think it's such important work for us to really think about some of the systemic things with food and being in touch with how our food comes out. I think my husband and I were laughing, like when our kids were in school, the things that kids think about where food comes from, you're like, what? That makes no sense. Like, because they don't know, they don't get to experience it.
Exactly. So yeah, so like I said earlier, I am not, I have broken away from diet culture and diet ideology. So it's not like only eat these things, this is good, this is bad. But just a few sort of general tips around your nutrition is being able to just eat as much real food as you can.
Yeah.
So maybe every meal can't be like this, or every meal is not one where it's just fruit and vegetables, but as much as you can, eating real food is with minimal processing. Because each time it's processed, there's more chemicals, there's more additives, and those things can impact our mind and our body beyond what we can recognize.
Yeah.
And so just being able to take that into awareness for yourself and take that into consideration, and just noticing how it makes you feel is the biggest thing. Eating more plant-based, like I said, something like this is completely plant-based, minus the feta cheese, but you can leave that out. But you know, it's really just things that all come from nature, with minimal processing. And just like, as you saw, all the colors, we're eating a rainbow. So we have the green, all of the different colors, and these are naturally occurring colors, not dyed, you know, not things that are, you know, coming out of a factory, but things that are full. And then noticing when you are full, right? So maybe you slow down, right? So one of the more pleasant side effects of the mindful eating experiences is that people that notice that they eat less. And you may recognize that it doesn't take as much to get you full. But what happens is, because we're rushing through and we're eating so quickly, and I'm so guilty of this, I eat quick so many times because I feel like I have to rush on to the next thing, is that I may not notice when I'm full, or might have a chance to really check in with what my body is actually needing. So even if I prepare this bowl and I realize I'm full, I don't need to continue eating, is that can be such a helpful practice for bringing greater awareness mentally and emotionally. So those are a few
That's
tips
good.
that you can take with you for the road. And please, I know Roxana has already shared my info in the chat, but I also have I know you guys have your survey, but I also have a link, the bit.ly/Afia with Jaree. That's going to be a feedback form, as well as a way for you to get added to my mailing list, so that when I am ready to launch these groups, or if you have more questions or you want to stay in touch with me, you can absolutely leave them there in that Google form. So I would love to stay connected with you. I'm a real person. As I said earlier,
I was going to ask the same thing. Can you add the link to the chat for us? Please. Hopefully your computer is not thirsty again.
I can't press the enter button. So
oh no, okay.
So yes, bit.ly. I did have a what is that thing called? A QR code that I forgot to put on this screen, but it should, bit.ly/Afia with Jaree. Hopefully that will take you
to the right thing.
To the right thing, yes. I am Charisse. I am in Baltimore, Maryland, is where I'm based in. And Mary, anyone in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, I know that there are people in the Black Church Food Security Network. They do have a few church homes or churches that are a part of that. So even if you don't have a church affiliation, or you're not interested in the church, they still can get you connected with, being able to stay healthy, stay well, and connected to Black farmers. So I would get connected with the Black Church Food Security Network, because they are the best. And we've got arms all over the place. That's just one of the organizations that I've been partnering with. And next week, next Monday, if you are in the Baltimore area, I will be hosting an in-person cooking class at 29th Street Community Center. And so you can get those details on my Instagram page, my Facebook page. Links are everywhere, or you can go straight to the 29th Street Community Center next Monday, 6:30 p.m. There are tickets for sale for that. That's
Okay.
one of the other relationships that I've been able to build. Jaree, send me an email. Yes, I do. And I
You
love
were just in
it.
Pennsylvania doing something.
I
I'm
was.
stalking you on your
I
face,
know,
your
yeah.
Instagram.
We were not that far in Pennsylvania. We went to, so with the Vector Tool Security Network, we were in Philadelphia in October, I think it was, or November, and then we were in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, which is like right outside of Philly, just last month. But I would love, listen, my Jeep is gassed up and ready to go. You just let me know, send me an email, and we can talk, okay?
And I want to say this about your Instagram. You have so many positive quotes. You have you did an article, or you contributed to an article. So check her Instagram out. I think a lot of times we stay away from social media because it's so negative, and like you inspired me to like, okay, I need to get back up and keep working out and just keep going. And I think we need practitioners like you that encourage people that way.
Thank you so much.
So we have, okay, Sister Jaree, Richard Rowe. My Zoom link allows me to stay and smell meals that are prepared during the webinar. So your Power Bowl smells wonderful.
Oh, a smellinar. I love it. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. You have to, Roxana, you have got to download this, download the chat, please. I have to save that somewhere. That is fantastic.
Smellinar, I love that. Just a few things that I wanted to say, because I know I just want to thank everyone that joined us tonight, because my head is chopped off, that joined us tonight. We know that you could have been doing whatever else you wanted to do, but we're so grateful that you joined us. You really added a lot to the conversation, because it's not just us spitting out information. And we also have 2 free BMHA events that I want to tell you about. One is an info session for a training that we have coming up. I put the information in the chat. You don't need to register. You can go on our Facebook Live tomorrow at 2 to meet our trainer, Dr. Bruce, another awesome human being just like Jaree, that is doing so many wonderful things in the world and is really educating our healers. So that'll be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Just go on our Facebook Live. And we have a Sawabona Circle, a replay. We have our awesome Black genius, Nia Jones, that has led the circle. So we knew that people were asking us about, oh, when is she going to do it again? So we're going to replay it and do a watch party on Facebook. So please join us. It's going to be a conversation as well, not just us watching, not just throwing out information. So hopefully you can join us. And stay tuned for what's going on with the Mind Health Shop Talk. I'm going to give you guys some email updates about when the next ones are going to be. We'll be in person again, and it'll be a great time. And I don't think we have any other questions. Laura said, thank you for creating this opportunity. This was awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a great night. Please to fill out our survey, give Jaree her feedback on her link. I put her link tree in the link because I retyped your thing wrong. I couldn't see what was going past the /. So that way you'll be able to give her feedback, because we want to get better. We want to know what we can improve on and what topics you want to hear about. So hopefully you guys will do that for us. Love y'all. Have a great rest of your January. Bye.